Hello, good morning. Welcome to my channel. My name is Martha and this is my Moxie life, and this channel is all things travel and flight attendant stuff and sometimes some other random stuff that I throw in just for funsies. If that interests you, stick around, click around, see if there's something you want to see. It's really early. I am finishing up a 3-day trip, which I got on AM Reserve. Why do I have AM Reserve, you might ask? Because you know that I hate AM trips. Well, I had to move some things around this month, and sometimes you have to work things you don't really want to work. So I tried my hardest to trade with somebody, but no one would take it. You know, the thing about LA as a base, they seem to like PM trips way more. I think it's a similar reason that I have, because when you hit those East Coast early AMs, it is painful. So yes, I had an AM trip. Yesterday I was in Indianapolis, so I did not do any filming in Indianapolis because I just had a 26-hour overnight, and I felt like you guys had probably had your fill of Indianapolis. I didn't really do anything. I walked to the grocery store and got a few groceries because I completely spaced on making my food bag, and so I had a few random things, but I needed a little bit of filler, so to speak. So I got a few little items at the grocery store, and then just had dinner at my room. And tonight I'm in Sacramento, or this morning I had Sacramento, and I really didn't do anything. There was a cute little wine. It's called a wine window. And according to the owner, he was very, very nice. There was no one there. It was kind of early in the day. So he said that became popular during the bubonic plague because they were trying to still sell alcohol, but they had to social distance. So, sounds familiar. Anyway, so I went and had a little glass of rosé, and then I came back to my room and just pooped around and did nothing. It was hot out. It was like 100 and I don't know, some ridiculous number. So here I am getting ready for day 3, which is gonna be a grind. We have 2 legs, one to Chicago and Chicago to LA. So only 2 legs, but it's about 10 hours, and those are 2 very long legs, both about 4 something. So anyway, on this video, I thought it would be fun to go over why we as flight attendants have to badger people to put on their seatbelts and put their seat backs up and put their bags under their seats, and why do people get so upset about it? So stay tuned. We're going to talk about safety, the FAA, Federal Aviation Regulations, and all that fun stuff. Does it sound interesting? I think so. All right, let's go. All right, I just want to talk a little bit about TSA and the FAA, the differences, and the Transportation Security Administration, TSA, is an agency of the United States Department of Homeland Security that has authority over the security of transportation systems within and connecting to the United States. It was created as a response to the September 11 attacks to improve airport security procedures and consolidate air travel security under a dedicated federal administrative law agency. The TSA has screening processes and regulations related to passengers and carry-on luggage, including identification requirements, pat-downs, full-body scanners, electronic device restrictions, and explosives screening. I have been hearing that there has been kind of an uptick in frustrations with the TSA. It kind of happens a lot, like comes in cycles. I don't know why. Maybe it's with people, new people being hired. I know the rules aren't changing, but I know that sometimes when we go through security, it's very frustrating because I would say the one biggest complaint most people have is the inconsistency. And
no liquids. Pull out your laptop, cell phones, pocket change, shoe.
Frequent flying.
And then the explanation when you kind of ask them or question them about the inconsistency, they basically just give you the line that it's their discretion. Like they decide. Like for example, I have a metal utensil set that I bring in my lunch bag. It came with chopsticks, straws, straw cleaner, fork, knife, and spoon. So I know that knives are, even the dumbest, dullest knives are usually confiscated, taken away at some point. So I just took the knife out from the beginning. I just decided like I'm not even going to bother trying with that knife. So took that out. I have been through security since this, I got this at Christmas. I've been through security with this set in my bag many times. Obviously, like I'm flying constantly, and I go through, when I'm working, I go through security at least once a day. So this last couple trips ago, I was going through a certain TSA. I will not name the airport, but they pulled my lunch bag.
Whose bag is this?
And we're, scanning it and looking at it. And I think he wanted to open it, but he never did. And so he gave it back to me and said, oh, we just looked at your silverware and your fork looked like a knife. What? I mean, what? My fork looked like a knife? It's looked like a fork for 6 months. I don't know why it suddenly looks like a knife. So I'm wondering if maybe they were thinking the chopsticks or the straw look like a knife. I don't know. So anyway, this is very frustrating, and I get it, but the thing is, like, you make it worse on yourself when you come at them or you get angry at them.
Please don't open that. Sir, do not make me blow this whistle. So help me God, I will blow this whistle.
Okay.
Do you want me to blow this whistle?
No, I don't.
Do you want me to blow this whistle?
I don't want you to blow
Do you
your
want
whistle.
me to blow this whistle?
No, I don't want you to blow your whistle.
If you...
And I'm not saying I've never done it. I am not innocent of getting frustrated with TSA, for sure, because from one airport to the next, from one day to the next, you don't know. So my advice is try to be as careful as you can with what you bring in your bags through TSA, and also if they flag you on something, then just be like, okay, I'm so sorry, or yeah, I forgot that was in there, or whatever,
It's not... This is a hard and fast rule, sir. Nothing over 3.4 ounces.
I'm so sorry. Do you know what? You can chuck that.
I mean, obviously, if you're bringing stuff that clearly like some people accidentally leave their, oh, I went shooting for the weekend and I just left my gun in my bag. What was I thinking? Okay, that's a little ridiculous, in my opinion. But anyway, how do we get around some of these things? TSA pre-check. My husband raves about it to everyone that will stand still and listen to him. It is...
This next one's going to be one that I would imagine makes every single travel tips list or video that's out there, probably. And so you've probably heard about it before, but it's TSA PreCheck. This is a program that will allow you to basically go through expedited lines at many airports. And so in a lot of cases, it's faster. And also you don't have to do things like take off your shoes or remove your laptops from your bags. It's just a much more comfortable and convenient airport experience. And it actually is fairly cheap. I think the last time I got it, it was $85, but that lasts for 5 years. So if you divide that out, it's $17 a year. So even if you only, do one trip a year or even fewer, it's really not that much money when you think about it, to save you a lot of time and add a lot of convenience to your trip. One note that I will make is that if you're also doing international travel and you want to have a kind of expedited customs experience, you can also look into global entry, which is, I think, around $100, maybe a little more. And it's the same kind of thing. That'll last for 5 years, and it also includes TSA PreCheck. So if you're wanting to do TSA PreCheck and also wanting to travel internationally quite a bit, you may want to look into global entry. Only downside is global entry will probably take longer to apply for and process than TSA PreCheck. TSA PreCheck application is pretty simple. They will do a background check, so just be aware of that. And yeah, but that's basically it. You fill out the form, you send it in, you pay your money, and you go do fingerprinting and things like that. and you are set for easier and faster travel.
So worth it. And then the last thing I want to talk about is real ID. In the US, you will need real ID starting in May of 2025. Now, clearly you have some time, almost 2 years, to make this happen. Do you have to have real ID? No. Do you have a passport? Do you have some other form of government ID? If you have a green card or right to work in the US or a foreign passport, there's a lot of things. If you go on the TSA website, there's a whole list of things. You do not have to get real ID. If you do not want to travel with your other form of government identification, then you should get real ID. You have to have a social security number to get real ID. So if you do not have a social security number, then you have to have some other form of ID. I always carry my passport, so I'm not really going to worry about getting a real ID. Plus, I also have my FAA card. So I'm not bothering with real ID, but I think most people, it is beneficial if you travel a lot in the United States, from state to state. So that's TSA. In the aircraft, we are governed by FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. The Federal Aviation Administration is the largest transportation agency of the United States government and regulates all aspects of civil aviation in the country as well as over surrounding international waters. Its powers include air traffic control, certification of personnel and aircraft, setting standards for airports, and protection of U.S. assets during the launch or re-entry of commercial space vehicles. And the rules that we state, the things that we tell you, are the FAA rules. They're not my rules. They're not the captain's rules. They're not the guy that loads your luggage. Like, he doesn't care. They are the FAA rules. So when the flight attendants ask you to please put your seatbelts on, to please put your seat backs up, to put your tray tables up, to put your carry-ons under your seat, we are not having a personal moment because we don't want you to have any fun or we don't want you to be comfortable. We are following FAA rules. When we ask you to...
Hi, excuse me.
Yeah?
Yeah. I need you to take your seat. The fasten seatbelt sign is on.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom for a second. I'll be right back, okay?
I understand what you want to do. Unfortunately, I'm gonna need you to observe the fasten seatbelt sign.
When we ask you to hang up your phone, when we ask you to take a headphone out when we're trying to brief you for the exit row, all of that is FAA, nothing. The people that sit in the front row and you can't have any bags down there, that's all FAA. You can't have anything. Now let's think about why you would want to not have any bags down at your feet. If perchance there is an emergency, very rare, I understand, if you need to get out quick, do you want to be tripping over your bags? Do you want your neighbors to be tripping over your bags? Do your neighbors want to be tripping over your bags or your cord or whatever? No, they do not. So it is not safe to have that walkway blocked with your bag or your doggy sticking out. That's why we usually try to ask people with pets to put their under seat pet thing on the window so that those aren't blocking people. When we tell you not to take your seatbelt off till we're parked at the gate, if for some reason they had to slam on the brakes, and it has happened, people like, I know it's rare, but it has happened. If they have to slam on the brakes at the last minute for some reason, you know what's going to happen? You're going to go flying, and that's not going to be great, or your kid's going to go flying. This is why we encourage you and inform you of the rules. Now, we will not force you to put your seatbelt on. If you're being obstinate or belligerent about it, you may not be flying, but we will let you know for your safety. You shouldn't be up and around during turbulence. And if we make an announcement that you should be seated, then you should be seated. And that's because we want you to be safe. Our primary job is your safety. It's not your Diet Coke or your snacks or your blanket. It is your safety to get you from point A to point B in one piece and happy. And part of that joy and happiness relies upon you. So I just want to talk about that a little bit. We're going to come into holiday flying in just only about a month. And I know a lot of people are going to be traveling. If you're unfamiliar with traveling or unfamiliar with rules or things that you're supposed to be doing, please ask me in the comments, ask the people when you go to the airport. It's okay to ask questions. It really is. And so I just want to say thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a great day, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.
And your captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. Feel free to move around the cabin. Thank you for your cooperation.